Food addiction and cheat days. Can the two coincide together? Dude, seriously? Not gonna happen. During my more than 50 plus years here on this planet, I've definitely had to deal with my own fair share of addictions. I mean, since I can ever remember being a kid, in hindsight, I've always had a food addiction. From the earliest age I can remember, I remember food always being an issue. My weight has never not been an issue. I am never not looking at myself in the mirror with on my face, with name calling myself, bullying myself in the mirror. It's really freaking awful. It's something that I struggle with to this day still. Over the past few years, I've definitely gotten better with it, but it's a problem. But let me backtrack a little bit. So over the years, I've definitely have experience with a lot of addictions. I have a very addictive personality. If I like something, you better have a lot of it, because I want all of it, and I want all of it now. That's it. So I've definitely dabbled in a lot of different kinds of drugs, and it seemed to be mostly the chemically kind, cocaine, heroin. I've never even tried, so that was never a problem, and pills. Oxycontin was the biggest one for me, and that was the most. That was a breaking point for me. That was where, once I was able to break that addiction, I've never looked back. I don't do drugs anymore at all. I barely drink. Like maybe 2, maybe 3 times a year I'll go out with friends and have some drinks, but I think I've got this thing in my head now that I know that I have to stay away from all of that, because I'm very, very easily influenced to jump back into it. And I gotta tell you, and I'm just realizing this within the past few years, it's exactly the same thing with food addiction. I remember the first time I heard somebody say food addiction. I think it was on the internet or YouTube or something. And I remember thinking, eye roll, whatever, food addiction, give me a break, as I'm stuffing chips and shit into my face for sure. But as I looked into it more and more, and I started listening to what they were saying or reading what they were writing about when it came to food addiction, and it just hit me, and I went, oh my God, they're talking about me. That's me they're talking about. I definitely have a food addiction. And I gotta tell you, addiction is addiction. Doesn't matter what it is: heroin, cocaine, alcohol, food, gambling, all of it. It's an addiction, and it's dangerous. I think the problem with food addiction is that food is something that we need. Our body will die if we don't have food. It's everywhere. We have to have food. It's all over the television. It's all over media. It's everywhere telling us, hey, eat all of this. But most of what they're advertising is pure shit, I've got to tell you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I definitely have made amazingly great strides with my food issues. Let me backtrack a little with that, I guess. I'll fill you in. So 4 years ago, August 23rd, what's this, we're in 2019 right now. So in 2015, on August 23rd, is when I finally just went, okay, that's enough. And I switched to paleo. Before that, I was at a point where I was just passing 255 pounds, and I was about to have to switch to a size 40 waist pant. Now, I don't know if you've gone shopping for a size 40 pants before, but the selection is very minimal. It's basically just khakis with pleated fronts on them. So I was like, all right, dude, nope. I need to do something about this. I need to take control of it. I looked terrible. I had very distended belly. My pants were literally ripping off of me. You can ask Matt, my business partner. We'd be sitting there talking in a meeting, and I would just sort of twist a certain way, and my pants would just split open because wasn't fitting into them anymore. I just kept getting bigger and bigger, and I wasn't really realizing it. And when I look back now and I see pictures of me back then, I was like, oh, dude, holy crap. But at the time, I felt like, it's fine. Yeah, I'm a little bit chubby, but that was the biggest I had ever gotten to. So I decided it was time to do something about that. So up to just before that point, I had heard about, okay, sugar is bad. I've always heard sugar is bad, but I was always like, bullshit, whatever. Leave me alone. And bread was my biggest vice. Bread and potato chips, they were my thing. Sugar was never really my thing. So at one point I thought, okay, let me just start cutting out bread, and let me eventually start cutting out sugar. While I was investigating about cutting out sugar, I kept reading this word paleo, and I had no idea what it was. So I looked into it, thought, all right, let's check this out. So during my investigation in paleo, I came across a website called Paleo Restart. Okay, I'll put a link in the bottom of the video for you. It's an awesome site. Basically what it does is it takes you on a 30-day journey of switching, restarting your body to change into a paleo lifestyle. It gives you shopping lists, it gives you recipes, it educates you. Every morning you log in and it tells you, hey, this is what you're eating and this is why it's bad. Okay, and this is why you need to eat these good things. And mostly, let's just say, an easiest way to explain paleo is no wheat, no sugar, no dairy. High fat, low carb. In a nutshell, paleo is basically no wheat, no sugar, and no dairy. But all right, I can deal with that. I already was cutting down on the wheat by cutting bread out. I was still having pasta and stuff. But all right, let's try this. So taking into account my addictions, sometimes my addictions work to my benefit. If there's something that I'm really interested in, oh my God, I don't know, you can't stop me. I'm like a freight train. All right, then I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it full on. Get the fuck out of my way. So I signed up for the Paleo Restart website, and I didn't cheat even once. I followed it. I read it, I educated myself, and I learned, and I did it. And within the 30 days, the program's for 30 days, I was down 30 pounds. The first couple weeks, I felt like, okay, I feel better. Technically, I felt better. I will tell you, the second I started eating that way, heartburn was gone like that. I would wake up in the middle of the night gasping for air with just bile and puke taste all up in my throat, coming out my nose, bolting up out of bed, not being able to breathe, heartburn just waking me up nightly. Really, really bad. Day one, maybe day two of paleo lifestyle, just gone. And I'll tell you, it's never been back except on the cheat days, which is what we're getting to. So at the end of the 30 days, down 30 pounds, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, let me just keep running with it. So I did another 30 days, and then my weight just kept going down. Within, let me say, 4 months, maybe 5 months of just continuing to just do only paleo. Once in a blue moon, I would have a bag of chips or something, but very, very rarely. I was really good and really stuck with it. I was down to almost 200 pounds, so about 55 to 60 pounds I had lost within 6 months, let's say. And I felt great, I looked great, my skin looked better, my weight was down, I looked healthier, I felt healthier. I just felt amazing. It was great. So this video wasn't supposed to be about that. It's about the cheat days. But so now it's 4 years later, and throughout those 4 years, I definitely have stuck with it. I've bounced in and out of doing a keto lifestyle, a paleo. I've even tried carnivore. I've done carnivore. I love that one too. God, if you do carnivore, let me just say quickly about that one. It's basically just eating meat and eggs. I ate eggs as well. I did it for 4 weeks, and I tell you, I felt great again. It's just like, oh, I felt amazing. It was easy to shop and cheaper. Holy shit, all I had to do is go to the store, buy meat. I would go to Costco, get a big slabs of pork tenderloin and big slabs of beef and slice them up into pork chops, into steaks, into little roasts, and that's all I would eat. And I would only eat once a day. And I'll tell you, I was never hungry. I was completely satiated all the time. All that fat is very satiating, and it's really good and healthy for you. I just got a little bored, so once in a while I would sneak in and throw in some vegetables and stuff, or I would have a chocolate bar or 2 or 3 or 4. And that's where I'm going to talk about what we're here for, and it's about cheat days. and food addiction. So for people who are addicts, like me, a cheat day is not just, you know what, I'm gonna have, okay, I'll sneak in a chocolate bar. When I have a cheat day, I will go into the store with the ambition of, you know what, okay, just get a bag of chips on the way home and have that and just move on with your life. And we'll get back to tomorrow. We'll get back to the healthy eating tomorrow. By the time I leave the store, I've usually got at least 3, maybe 4 bags of chips, 3 of those Rice Krispie squares, or pre-made ones, and maybe another couple chocolate bars. And half of it's gone before I've even gotten home. And then I just sit in front of the TV and mow it down, and I can't stop. And I don't know how to stop that. Then I feel like crap. Then I see myself in the mirror, and I bully myself, and I just say horrible things to myself in my head. Look at you, how fat you are, and you're so gross, and what a pig, and why did you do that to yourself? You fucking moron, why did you do that? And I just do nothing but berate myself and make myself feel even worse than I already do. Never mind physically, I feel like crap too, because while I'm eating it, it's like, oh, it's heaven. This stuff, oh, it's so amazing. And I'm eating and shoveling it into my mouth. God, thank God nobody's there. There's not a camera on me, because I just look terrible, I'm sure. But anyway, it feels amazing. And 5 minutes later, the mental anguish settles in, and it's just awful. So another thing about being an addict, and when you're using, whether that's drugs or food or whatever it is, when you're using, oh, you feel relief. You get those endorphins. You feel like, oh, there we go. I'm normal again. And when you stop, you feel sick. And that was happening with me with food. Because I had gone 4 years of being really healthy and eating well, anytime within those 4 years that I would cheat, because I had retrained my body to be healthy, those foods really affected me. If I have one of my binges, like I just explained to you, with all the chips, and mostly because of the sugar, the next day, if I don't have more sugar, I've got a pounding headache, and I've got the runs. I've got the shits really bad. So bad one time, and I'm sorry, TMI here, but one time I even shit the bed. It was that bad. I woke up in the morning and I had shit myself, not even realizing it, because I had eaten a ton of sugar the night before. I had a pounding headache, and I was sitting in bed covered in shit. Sorry, I know. It's gross, but I don't know. I just feel like nobody really wants to talk about that. And it's a thing, especially if you have an addictive personality. I'm not a normal person like maybe some of you are, where I can just have 1 or 2 chocolate bars and move on with my life and be fine. And the next day I'm back to all the healthy stuff. I can do that. I can binge, and then I can go back to the healthy stuff. But it takes me 3 days maybe to actually finally feel normal again. I put myself through that hell. I feel amazing while I'm eating it. The next day I feel like shit. I've got a pounding headache. I literally feel like shit. And the day after that I still feel like crap, but I'm getting a little bit better. And then maybe by the 3rd day I'm starting to feel human again, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm back to, okay, eating normal again. But what ends up happening is within a few more days, maybe 5 days, I forget like how that felt, how horrible I felt. And within another week or so, I'm having another cheat day. And for some reason, I'm able to convince myself, I just say to myself the whole time while I'm at the store buying all this stuff, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it, I'll be fine. I'll deal with it, everything will be okay. And then the cycle starts again, and then I'm feeling like shit again, and I'm telling myself what a horrible person I am. And look at you, look how fat you are and how gross you are. I'm shitting like crazy. I got pounding headaches. I feel lethargic. I'm groggy. I can't think, just total brain fog. I'm totally going through a withdrawal, an addiction withdrawal. It's literally the same with drugs. It's exactly the same. There's no difference. So one way to tell that if you are an addict is if there's, the problem is you need to be questioning it. And when we're addicts and when we're in the throes of using, we don't realize it sometimes, or we ignore it maybe. Maybe we do realize it down inside, but we're ignoring it. I remember the first time when I finally realized, oh, I have a problem with Oxycontin. I was taking it a lot, like daily, but it was at the beginning stages of it. So one time I didn't take it, I didn't have any, so I didn't take it one day, and I just like, oh, I felt like crap. I felt like, oh man, I got a flu. I have the flu. I was working in television then still. So there's one show of Take This House and Sell It. There's an episode where they played it all up on the episode where Terry calls in sick. It wasn't the one time that these shows weren't fake and it was real drama, but I really did call in sick because I woke up that day and thought, man, I feel like crap. I got a flu. I felt terrible. I couldn't move and I just felt achy. My hands were like, oh man, everything ached. I felt terrible, so I called in sick. Messaged my friend, told her, hey, listen, I didn't go to work today. What are you doing? She's like, oh, hey, this is a friend that I used to do Oxycontin with. We discovered it together. And she said, hey, I've got some, and I'll come by. So I was like, oh, okay, sure. We met up the second I took some. I felt better. And that's when it hit me and I went, oh, that's what it was. I don't have the flu. Oh, I was going through withdrawal. So, if you feel like maybe you're addicted to something, food, so anything like that, drugs, something, try stopping. If you can't stop, well, right away, there you go, you're an addict. Or if you do stop and you just feel like garbage, that's your body telling you that it can't live without that, whatever it is, food, heroin, Oxycontin, alcohol, gambling, all of it. That's addiction. And food addiction is a very serious thing. So if we know that obviously drugs are bad for us, alcohol can be bad for us, and sugar and wheat are bad for us, why do we keep fucking eating it? Because it's an addiction. Again, for people like me who are an addict, I'm not normal. Why do we keep doing it? I don't know. So the reason I'm doing this video is because I keep doing it. I just did it the other day. I was at Costco shopping. I thought, okay, I just need a few things from Costco. I need to get my big slab of pork loin so I can maybe, so I can make some roast and pork chops or whatever. And while I was there, I just thought, you know what, I have a craving for chips. But I'm in Costco, so you can't just get a little bag of chips. I gotta tell you, and I'm embarrassed to tell you, but maybe that'll help. I walked out of there with a big box of chips that had 36 bags of chips in it. And I also felt like I wanted something sweet, so I got these, they're Special K bars, like fruit bars with a crispy coating on them. 30 packs of them. 30. Each one has 2 bars in it, but they're so thin that they just equate to one, in my opinion anyway. 30 of them in the box and 36 bags of chips. Okay? Oh, it'll be fine, I thought. No problem. I'll just deal with it. Let me just have that. I feel like, I just want to curb my appetite and my craving. Let's do it. So, on the way home in the car, I can't believe I'm going to tell you this. I'm actually going to say this out loud. By the time, let's just say within an hour, maybe an hour and a half, I ate 15 of those Special K bars, and I had 8 bags of chips. Oh my God. Hopefully this helps. Hearing it out loud. Holy fuck, Terry. Anyway, so that's what happened just the other day. I'm still feeling like crap. I don't know why I put myself through that. I don't know why I do it. And I keep doing it. Why do I keep doing that to myself? I don't know. I don't know what the hell is, I don't know why. It feels so good when I'm eating it, but man, does it feel bad after. I still am recovering from it. Last night I woke up in the middle of the night with a freaking heartburn, insane heartburn, piercing, searing pain in my chest. Nothing but the smell of bile and barf up in my burning throat, in my nose, like everywhere. I couldn't sleep. I bolted up out of bed, had to take some heartburn pills, sit up in bed and watch TV for a few hours in the middle of the fucking night. Just felt awful. I still feel like crap, but I'm getting better. But here's where the problem gets worse. So in a few days, let's say 5 to 7 days, I'm going to feel a little bit better, and I'm going to forget how bad that felt, and maybe I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to go, you know what, I'm just going to go get a bag of chips, and I'll be fine. But I'll leave the store with 3 bags of chips and 4 chocolate bars, and I'll mound them all down, and then I'll feel like crap again. But each time I'm doing that, because I'm doing it, the period in between that I'm doing it is getting shorter and shorter, so my body's getting more used to it. So the days that I'm not eating it, my body doesn't feel like crap because I've been replenishing it with sugar and with shit and stuff I shouldn't be eating. So it's fine. My body's saying, okay, no problem. So I get used to it, and the next thing I know, I'm just eating it on a regular basis again, and it's back. And I'm back in my addiction phase, and I'm eating it. Just eating it because I'm fine. So, to that, for people like me, for me, and I'm sure you, if you're like me and have an addictive personality, cheat days are null and void. They have to be. You just have to go all in. It's fucking hard, but man, is it worth it. It's really worth it, I'm telling you. I can contest to that fact. When I'm not eating that stuff, when I'm not taking the drugs, when I'm not popping pills or snorting coke, I feel amazing. Sobriety. I guess even with the food, it's sobriety. I'm sober from the bad food, from the sugar and the weed and the stuff that we know we're not supposed to eat it. We know. So don't. It's hard, but it's worth it in the end. I swear to you. So, I mean, like I said, it was just yesterday or the day before that I had all of those fucking Special K bars and bags of potato chips. And don't get me wrong, I had more than that later on that day. I've just only told you about the first hour and a half. Later that night, I had more. Anyway, so what I have to do is I have to get back onto it. What do I eat or what do I not eat? You know what? Anything that's in a package, don't eat it. I just eat real food. Healthy foods. You know, I guess that's what they call it. It's hard. I don't like saying healthy foods because there's so many companies out there that are saying, here, this is healthy, eat this, and it's not. Just eat real food. Buy meat, vegetables, fruit even. You know, I don't eat anything with wheat. I stay away from wheat. I stay away from sugar. I stay away from dairy. Dairy I don't think is as bad, but I stay away from because I have an addictive personality. And if I buy a block of cheese, I'm sitting there basically gnawing on that block of cheese in front of the television, watching RuPaul's Drag Race or whatever I'm watching, eating an entire brick of cheese. So I stay away from the dairy, even though I do like it. And I feel like dairy is probably not as bad, but it's not great, especially not for an addict. So I just stick with real foods, healthy foods, and I'm struggling with staying away from all the bad shit, but I'm pretty good with it. And when I'm sticking with it, and I hope going forward now, I'm going to go back to it and full on just stick to my guns and don't eat that anymore. It feels amazing. Everything feels better. Brain fog is gone. I feel smarter, I guess, as smart as someone like me can feel. I feel healthier. I feel lighter. I don't feel bloated all the time. I feel really good. It's amazing. I don't want to shit my bed anymore. I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night with seething heartburn, feeling like crap all the time. I don't want that. But why do I keep going back to it? Ugh. I gotta stop. So wish me luck. I'm going back to it. I gotta stick to it.